Oh, hello, folks. Welcome back to one of these. I had a long day today outside in the cold. I was cutting firewood. Lost track of time. Here now, feeling a little bit sniffly from the cold and all the dust of the firewood, like sawdusty stuff. But I'm good enough to do this. I hope you're well as well. Um, this is the last one of these sharings. I was hoping to end on a positive note and showing some solutions in the world to mostly the soil erosion that large scale agriculture causes. Let's check this out. I won't read this whole thing here. Oops. Is there a way to do this? Oops. Here. You'll be able to check it out on the slide presentation. It's a brief quote from Joseph Russell Smith, who was kind of an early advocate for a tree-based agriculture to counter the problems with erosion. Here we see a modern tree-based permaculture farm where you see mostly chestnuts and hazelnuts planted on these slopes of this Wisconsin farm in order to slow erosion, reduce the need for tillage, and get a yield equivalent to corn and soybeans. See, here's the difference. These are the trees. And this is like a normal corn, soy, wheat rotation over here. So the farm looks quite different if we imagine it in a way that Joseph Russell Smith hopes us to, which is to repopulate the soil with perennial food crops to feed our growing populations. Here's a close-up view of a similar scheme. This is called alley cropping, where you can crop your corn or soybeans, in this case corn, between tree crops. And this is pretty common in Eastern Europe. They grow their own telephone poles from this special kind of black locust, which is like a nitrogen fixing tree that grows a kind of wood that's rot resistant and very straight. You see these are pretty straight. So this field's doing two things at once. It's growing telephone poles and fixing nitrogen for the corn and then growing some corn. It looks like they're getting about half as much corn on the field as they would have otherwise. But there's reduced tillage in the tree zone. The trees are fixing some nitrogen, and this is a good system. Here's another version of a similar system later in the year. See, the corn is maturing. These look like cottonwoods. If you've been out west, they have what's called toilet paper farms, where they grow these types of cottonwoods in huge fields like corn, and then mow them every 5 years to make pulp for toilet paper. I thought, wow, what a miserable thing, a toilet paper farm, but they're quite pretty, and it's a little bit better than using, fully grown forest trees, to do our job with. So it's something to consider. This is alley cropping on a slope. These slopes in mountainous regions have been home to human civilizations for a long time, and the farmers have to prevent soil erosion, or else they'll be done in a generation. Here we see perennial crops along the terraces with some different crops in between. Here's a kind of a side profile of how a lot of slope crops are planted. They'll cut out a swale to make the berm, and that gives an opportunity to kind of catch water as it runs off the mountain slope and sink into the soil here. And it gives a chance to fortify these berms so that when it does rain, it doesn't run all the way down the hill like that that landslide we saw a couple weeks ago. You could also raise forages for animals between the rows of trees. In some cases, grasses grow better with some shade, often not quite so good. You see under these pine trees, there's less grass and more pine needles, but this is another option. And we see the beginning of such a enterprise, an alley crop system. Trees are planted in pastures, or in this case, it looks like a hayfield, and then animals are carefully grazed so that they don't. What are we doing here? When the sorry when the trees are just planted, they need a period of establishment where they won't be trampled or eaten or run over by animals. Here, these are kind of tree tubes. We call them tree tubes in the industry. They're like little mini greenhouses that help keep the tree from both getting eaten, and it warms them up a little bit so they grow a little faster. Now, this is all just to give you a chance to see these things in action. If you ever have your own plot of land, it would be good to consider some tree crops. That's the future of all this. It's if we don't go towards reduced tillage and soil conservation measures, we're going to end up the way of Syria and Greece. Like in the first quote, once you read it, he points out that these places you see that humans are living, and there's just deserts there. It wasn't always that way. I mean, places like Syria and Iraq were the most fertile parts of the world for a long time, and they had sustained crop yields that would rival what we have here. But consistent use of land for agriculture tends to degrade it, and without better practices or more awareness, we're going to do the same at our place. So I hope you're all doing okay. Remember, I'll be posting the exam on Wednesday, so you have until the following Monday to complete that. And all of the things are due. The presentation and your personal report are due by that following Monday as well. But get them in sooner the better. All right. Appreciate you. Take care. Bye.